seen him online. I met Jeff, I don't know, maybe at this point, 6-7 years ago. He was, I think at the time, just sounds bad, but an LO at a mortgage company. And we were working on a product that we were rolling out, went out and met with him. And fast forward, he ended up joining our high-level mastermind called Closing Table. And I remember having a conversation with Jeff, and I said, dude, I promise you that being in a room like this will do something for you. I can't guarantee what, but I promise you that it will start to pave a road. And I'm not taking credit for it because of Closing Table, but more shining light on the fact that Jeff is an action taker, and he came into the room and started making connections. And that's when we really started to develop our friendship. Today, Jeff runs a national expansion for a national mortgage company. He's a top producing LO himself. But beyond that, this is a guy that has really truly mastered the art of leveraging social media to grow his business and his personal brand. Because of that, he's had success partnering with some of the top brokerages and teams and agents from around the country. He's speaking on more stages than me, which I'm pretty upset about. He's running one of the top podcasts in the space, and a bunch of other, cool things. But most importantly, what I love watching Jeff do, and what I hope that all of us can take away from this presentation today, is the biggest thing, and I'm sure you hear this, and that's hence the title of the presentation, is there is a way to be active and influential in the real estate world on social media without being boring, without being spammy. Most of the posts that we see industry-wide from agents are just listed, just sold, got another property into escrow. That's cool, but it's really not that cool, right? And only talking about real estate all the time is also important, but not that cool, and starts to get a little spammy. If you're not following Jeff, I highly suggest you do. So the stuff that he teaches you today comes to life as you follow him throughout his journey of being a social media influencer these days. So welcome to Collective Coaching, Jeff. How you doing today?
Thanks for having me, brother. It's great to be here.
Are you muted, or is my audio down?
Not muted.
There you go. I can hear you. Can you guys hear us okay? Give me a hand raise if you can. That
would be helpful, wouldn't it?
Yes. All right. So Jeff, I don't know what else to say that is worth saying, but I'm proud of you, man. You are, you're very impressive, and it's been an awesome process watching your journey and seeing what you've created for yourself and your family and your business, and doing content that is, for me, enjoyable to watch. So I appreciate you coming on and sharing with the group. I think you're going to do a PowerPoint, yeah?
Yep, I am.
Okay. Well, anything you want to add before we jump in?
Yeah, a couple of things. One, first of all, you said it. I put a quote. I'm not going to get to it today, but one of the quotes that I put in my presentations was from you, which was, the moment you become a somebody, the business starts to chase you. And you also quoted the other thing that I said, that you said to me, which was very, very valuable. And so, although you said you won't take the credit, and I tell people this all the time, it's not like I joined a mastermind group and success followed. That was a part of the journey, but the execution piece was the critical piece. And I remember you used to bring me up on stage at Closing Table and say, this dude walks away and does shit. And I took that to heart, because I didn't think about it at the time, but here I am. And to correct you, actually, I'm not a loan officer. I'm the farthest thing from a loan officer. I actually joke and say I moonlight in the mortgage business. The truth is, I make it rain on the mortgage business. That's the only reason I'm still in it, because they can't afford to lose me. because I create opportunity. And I really spend most of my time in coaching and speaking and doing all this stuff now. So
let's color that in real quick, and then we could fire up your PowerPoint.
Yep.
You know, the quote that Jeff is referring to is something that I heard Gary Vaynerchuk say at Traffic and Conversion Summit. Now it feels like 100 years ago, but he said something that stuck with me and really started to pave my approach and my ideas around building a personal brand and going hard in the paint with social media, Instagram, Facebook. He said, it doesn't matter if you're the best at what you do. You could be the best damn agent in the world. And you'll always remain in the position where you have to continue to go out and hunt and chase and earn business. But the moment you become a somebody, the business starts to chase you. And it's very simple, right? It's a simple saying, but it hit me. And I think that just hearing you say, look, I don't even do loans anymore. I'm just the rainmaker. And the reason I'm a rainmaker is because you became a somebody.
Yeah.
And I want all of us to know that Jeff, if you knew Jeff 6 years ago when I met him, he is not who you see online today.
I was sucking my thumb in the corner of the room, actually, let's be honest.
But he has learned to manufacture and become the person that we all see online, and now speaking all over the country and growing a phenomenal business. So remember that the things that he talks about and shares with you today, these are all things we can all do. You just have to get out of your comfort zone a little bit and understand that it's actually really simple. It's just sometimes not easy to get out of your way and step into the things that he's going to share with us. So take it away, my friend.
Cool. Hold on one second. You got it?
Got it.
Okay, so I have, this is going to be a literal fire hose. So I'm going to apologize in advance because I actually do a lot of 2 to 3 hour speaking engagements now. So we're doing full blown masterminds and workshops. And so I tried to condense this down, and I think I did a really poor job of it. So I think it's going to be more than an hour, but I'm going to talk fast. So because some of it I can gloss over. I did hide some slides, but I think a lot of it's relevant. And so here's the deal. I'm going to start with psychology. So I think a lot of you showed up today because you just want that magic pill. And I'm here to tell you that doesn't necessarily exist, except what I'm going to talk about today kind of goes against the grain of everything you probably taught or other speakers you've heard at conferences, because now there's like a social media influencers, and I'm putting that in quotation, on every street corner. And for me to be a social media influencer, in my opinion, you have to be a practitioner. And so as you are, going down that rabbit hole and going to conferences and listening to these quote unquote experts, always make sure, if you're listening to these people, that they are doing and practicing what they preach. Because if they're not, to me, they're just regurgitating what somebody else said, and they're a fake. And I watch it all the time with coaches on social media, especially real estate coaches. And I like want to punch my computer because I'm like, no, God, stop saying that. That is not what they need to be hearing. So I'm going to start with, I'm going to tell you a little story here in a second. I'm going to talk a little bit through the psychology of why social, why it's so important, what's coming in the industry that you all know about. So I'm not going to beat a dead horse there, but which is very relevant to why social media matters. I'm going to talk a little bit. I'm going to show you a little bit of data. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the why, and then I'm going to show you exactly what I'm doing. What I've learned, Sam, that a lot of people have asked me over the last few years as I started to speak a lot was, they started to ask me, what are you doing? Like, show us what you're doing. And so because I'm constantly evolving my process, I'm going to give it to you. That in and of itself is going to be a fire hose because you're going to look at that and be like, holy shit, there's no way in hell. And I'm not telling you that's what you're going to do. So I'm going to give you a lot of nuggets along the way. What I want you to do today, you're going to probably take some notes. You need to find 1 or 2 things that you can walk away literally today and execute in your business. It's no fluff. This is real shit. This is the stuff that I'm practicing. So get ready. So I'm going to start with a quick story. I've already lost 10 minutes. This is relevant for one primary reason. There was an email that went out from the president of my company. This is probably about a month and a half ago now. Sent it out to the entire company. Our entire company is over 1,000 people. He sends out these emails that have like motivational quotes. In this particular one, there was a little cartoon with it. And the cartoon was a picture of a storefront. And there was an employee standing at the window staring across the street. And the manager was behind them. And the quote said, maybe if you stopped paying so much attention to what your competition is doing and started focusing on your business and your customers, maybe you'd make some more sales. And it's so incredibly relevant. And so what I did was I chimed in, because I'm known as the social media savant, idiot, however you want to describe me within our company. And I said, Doug, this is a great email. The president of our company, or the previous owner of our company's name is Doug Shukar. And I said, Doug, this is an awesome message. And it's also so relatable on social media. The biggest mistake that we all make is we're looking at what our competition is doing and we're copying them. Like, at what point in this journey of social media did someone decide that taking a picture at closing and posting it on social media was a good idea? I have no idea. And I don't think anybody can answer that question, but that's the reality. Why don't doctors do it? They're saving people's lives and they're not posting it on social media? Why don't auto mechanics do it? Why does no other industry brag about the fact that they just closed a deal? And I know what some of you are thinking. Well, I'm celebrating with my customer. You know what? Celebrate in private like everybody else. Why does it belong on social media? My response to Doug was, that is the problem with our industry. We have become the biggest spammers on the planet. If you ask a 25-year-old who has no ties to real estate, give me one word to describe a real estate agent, I would bet you, and I know because I've done this, the words you're going to get are words that are just like slimy, or a comparison to used car sales. Why? Because we suck at social media, because we're self-serving on social media and we're never serving others. It's all about us and our business. And so my response to Doug was simply that. It was that this is a great lesson. We need to stop doing it. And I said at the end of the email, I said, Doug, the question we need to ask ourselves, do they really care? The point of the story was Doug took that wrong, that question I asked. He thought I was saying that question to him. So he quickly fires back, replies all to the entire company and says, Pfitzer, I don't even know what you're talking about. Why don't you go help your loan officers close more deals? And so at this point, of course, there's fumes coming from my head. And I'm like, you mother, I'm not going to say, but I didn't. I responded with, because we have a good relationship. And I said, Doug, the retirement home's online too. Apparently you got out again. And it stopped. It stopped right there. And so he then messages me directly and says, and apparently the CEO, the gal who runs our company, was fuming as well. Like, everybody saw, I got a bunch of messages from people saying, I don't know why Doug said that. What an idiot, blah, blah, blah. We ended up taking it offline, and it ended up into a little bit of a debate. And so Doug is the consummate traditional superstar loan officer. He's successful because he did it the way you should have always done it. I mean, he applied, he provided an amazing experience. He went and knocked on real estate doors. He did great follow-up. He did all of the things that you're supposed to do. Right. And he's great. And he's an anomaly. He was number one in St. Louis. He was probably a top 10 or 20 LO in the country in his time. And I said, Doug, you are an anomaly. You're in a unicorn. You will be successful in any market. His response to me was, Pfitzer, what you're doing is not duplicatable. What you're doing is not for everybody else. They need to go knock on doors. And I said, Doug, I respectfully disagree. And here's why. I said, here's the deal. In today's world, let's just say you close 10 transactions with consumers, you provide a great experience, et cetera, right? Then 5 years passes till the next time that they have to transact. We're talking in today's world, right? You do what you're supposed to do. You put them into a CRM. So you're going to send them a bunch of garbage, spam, that's spam too, by the way. And then maybe you overachieve and drop a phone call or a text message or an email to them once or twice a year just to check in on them, right? That's what you do. That's what a good salesperson does. Real estate agent, loan officer, it doesn't matter. I said, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do me on social, and I'm going to be super authentic, and it's going to be the reality TV show. And I'm going to give my audience a backstage pass to my life. I'm going to sprinkle in business, but for the most part, it's going to be about me. And I said, let's assume that I am connected to all 10 of your consumers on social media. I said, I'm going to bet you in 5 years when they have to transact again, because I have established a parasocial relationship with them, because I have connected with them, because we both have the same age kids, because we both like to play golf, because we both like to travel, because we both like to garden, or because we both like birds, or any of this stupid stuff that we might think is stupid. I said, I will bet you 8 or 9 out of 10 will transact with me in 5 years instead of you, because they know me and they like me and they don't give a shit how good of a loan officer you were or a real estate agent you were. And I said, fast forward this another 10 years, and I bet you I get 10 out of 10. So in other words, if you're not going to start applying what I'm going to talk about today, the odds that you start losing customers to the real estate agents that do this, you're going to lose. It doesn't matter how great you were at your job, because the reality is the consumer in today's world, they're opting out of your CRM because they didn't ask for it, right? They don't like pop buys, especially the younger generations. They don't like to answer their damn phone. I get it. Boomers and Gen X, maybe they still do, but we're only going to be relevant for so much longer. Millennials and Gen Z are going to take over the world. And so you need to really understand this. And so I'm going to move on real quickly here, because I told you I had to do that. So I'm going to start real fast. Let's connect on social. Obviously, if we're not connected, Sam already said it. I'm going to make it easy for you. I'm really easy to find. For all of my audiences, I tell them I'm one of the few speakers you'll ever hear that says, I welcome you to be on your cell phone during the time that I'm talking, because I'm going to talk through some tactical things on some of these platforms, and I'm okay with that. So there's always someone in the room when I'm live that they open up TikTok or Instagram and a video starts playing and they're embarrassed, and I say that's okay. So connect with me. I'm very easy to find, at Jeff Pfitzer on every single platform. That's your lesson number 1 of the day. Your name on your social platform should be as consistent across every platform as humanly possible, and it should be as close to your name as also humanly possible, because that's how your consumer knows you. So don't try to get too creative, because you're just making it harder for people to find you. Just keep it very, very simple. A little bit about me, Sam already kind of mentioned it. It literally started with me shooting video and me posting to Facebook. No joke. That's how Sam found me. That's how I got invited to this mastermind, which led me to meeting people like Tristan, which led me to running their events, which led me to becoming the podcast host, which led me to speaking, which led me to being named as one of the top video influencers across the United States and Canada, which led to me building out several businesses, which is where I spend most of my time today. We have a business video school. We teach video. We have a platform called Real Estate Mastery Pros, which we provide high-level education to real estate agents. And then, of course, I spend a lot of time in Drunk on Social. That's my hat. That's where I spend a lot of time now. We have a podcast. We do coaching, all sorts of things. And most importantly, we 5x'd our mortgage business as a result. We went from a 600 to 800 unit a year branch or region to doing about 100 to 120 million, to doing over 2,000 units a year for over 500 million. And honestly, we have our sights set on $1 billion, because why not? And had you asked me 5, 6 years ago, 7 years ago, when Sam and I met, I would have told him, if he asked me what was my goal, I would have said, I want to get to 200 million, but I have no idea how. And then we just blew right by it. And if you asked my 2 partners who actually run the mortgage business, and they said, what would you attribute this growth to? They will tell you that we would not have grown if it wasn't for what Jeff is doing. That's 100% the reason for the growth, because it's created new opportunities. And so that's the only bragging I'm going to give today, just to give context, because I get asked all the time, does this really work? Do you really drive leads? Well, I mean, I've had 5x growth, and there's no way in hell I would have found it without this. Real quickly, I'm going to run through a couple of things that give this a little bit of relevance. I told you the psychology piece to this. I had a big real estate organization ask me at the beginning of last year, 2022, to talk about the emerging trends in technology as it relates to real estate. And so I did my homework. And last year, the list looked very similar to this. It has somewhat evolved. If you had asked me at the beginning of 2022, and by the way, AI was at the top of the list at the beginning of 2022, a year ago, a little more than a year ago, I would have said artificial intelligence, AI. I didn't really know what that meant. And look where we are now. A year later, Now you've got ChatGPT, you've got all these different platforms that I will predict and tell all of you that by the end of 2023, AI is going to be so mainstream in our industry, you are going to forget what life was like in 2022. That's how fast things are moving. And if you're not prepared, if you're not consuming, if you're not learning about this shit, robots will replace you. Look at this list. Virtual reality, augmented reality, all coming into our world. Blockchain is almost here. Digital currency, almost here. The more use of drones, 5G and lot, AKA the Internet of Things, which basically means internet-powered homes, which means your consumer in the not too far future, actually it already exists now, but it's going to become more mainstream, is going to be able to sit on the couch and ask a little machine sitting on their counter, hey, Alexa, show me the homes for sale in XYZ neighborhood. Why are they going to do that? Because they don't. Sorry, my Alexa actually listens to me when I say that. Shut up, Alexa. Hold on, I got to unplug her.
Case in point.
Did you hear that? Yeah, she was actually responding and giving me the answer. So yeah, exactly. Case in point. And so if you are so naive to think that your consumers, the humans, are going to want to use a real estate agent before they do anything else, you're just absolutely wrong. And I'm mainly going to cite the millennial generations and the Gen Z generations, who, by the way, if you know, as most of you probably know, they are two generations, especially millennials, that have not bought real estate like previous generations. Why? Well, probably a lack of inventory, probably a lack of affordable housing. Also, because most of those millennials watched their parents go through 07 and 08. There's a lot of reasons, but they are going to jump off the fence at some point. We're going to figure this out at some point, and we're going to have a boom. And guess what's going to happen? All of those consumers, I shouldn't say all, most of those consumers are going to want to work with somebody that they've already established a relationship with before they've even called on you. And that's why this is so incredibly important. BIM, building information modeling, AKA, robots are going to be doing architectural drawings here, if not soon, if it's not already here. And then, of course, the metaverse. You already know about ChatGPT. I actually show an example. I'm not going to share that. I am going to share this with you because maybe not all of you have heard of this one. There's a lot of AI out there now. This has come so fast and furious. It's crazy. It's actually, if you want my opinion, I don't have time to talk about this today, but I actually think AI is going to be far more dangerous than good. I think we as a real estate world are looking at it as good because why? It can make us lazier, AKA more efficient. But I think AI is going to be made massively dangerous if we don't watch what the hell we're doing because it's coming too fast. Syllabi was created by a buddy of ours. His name is Austin Armstrong. It's actually designed to help you create a social media strategy. So if you haven't checked that out, I recommend that you check it out. It writes captions for you, writes scripts for you. I know that ChatGPT can do the same thing, but Syllabi was specifically designed for this. And Austin Armstrong is a social media influencer who's grown massive audiences. So he knows what the hell he's talking about. Take a picture of this if you want. If you want to go check it out, if you want to sign up, I have a code for that. So just take a picture of this slide. I'm going to leave it up here for about 2 more seconds. I can give this to you after the fact, but check out Syllabi. I think it's going to be a very useful use of AI. Real quickly, for a lot of you, I know that there's a lot of people in every room that I talk to that demonize social media. You hate it for a lot of reasons. It's a time suck. It's ruined young females. It's ruined our world, perfectionism, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm going to quickly remind you that yes, we currently demonize social media, but we also about 50, 60, 70 years ago demonized this little box. It was the newest thing. Every mom across America said, I hate this stupid box because my kids used to want to play in the yard. Now they want to come in and listen to the radio. Then it was this. Then it was telephones. Then it was beepers. Remember, if you had a beeper, you were a drug dealer at one time. And then it became mainstream. And now it's like a distant freaking memory. And those of you that are similar to my age know exactly what I'm talking about. And then try to get this sound out of your head. Remember that didn't seem like it was that long ago that we were using America Online and we were wondering to ourselves, I know I was, this is cute, this whole internet thing, but I don't see the relevance of it. Now, here we are with social media. Now you look back at all of these things, they're either obsolete or they're just literally a fragment of our life. And you fast forward the world 10 to 15 years from now, social media, we're going to look back and say, I long for the days when it was just social media, because it's going to evolve. AI is here and everything is happening so damn fast now. If you don't start embracing this stuff, you're going to get left behind. Real quickly, because not everybody knows this, the top 5 most visited websites in the world are Google, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, the top 5 most visited websites. So if you don't believe me how important social is, this isn't the top 5 most visited social apps. This isn't the top 5 most visited apps. This is the top 5 most visited websites. And then you've got TikTok in here as well. It's very relevant. There's a lot of people using social media. There's a lot of people spending time on social media. And I'm going to articulate this real quickly. When 10 years ago, when you got home from work, your normal routine was probably get home from work, maybe get your kids settled, maybe make dinner, and then you sat down on the couch and you watched your shows for a good 2 to 3 hours. And we didn't think anything of it because it was just what we did. Nowadays, here's what you do. You get home from work. Actually, you spend time throughout your day on social media. You get home from work, you sit down on the couch, you turn on the television, and then you get on your phone. Like, tell me somebody who doesn't do that. We all are guilty of doing this because TikTok, because Instagram, because Facebook, because YouTube is now Seinfeld. That's what we do. But yet you find yourself bitching about it and saying, damn it, my kids, my wife, my spouse, my husband, all they do is have their face in their phones. Again, 5-10 years from now, we're going to look back and be like, remember that internet thing? Remember that social media thing? It's just not normal yet for you. You're just not used to it. Television was normal. 68% of US adults, let's just call it 70%, are on social media. There are a few places I would disagree. There are no places which are more effective at reaching your consumers. I'll tell you why. Consumers are saying no to ads. Really, this is more specific to ad blockers, but it's relevant here because what most of you are putting on social media as it relates to social media, as it relates to real estate, is an ad. You don't look at it that way, but it's self-serving. It's not serving your customer. And also, you need to really start paying attention to where we're going. I'm going to breeze through this. The one thing I've learned along this journey, especially with becoming a quote unquote, I always put it in quotes, the social media influencer, because I just feel weird saying it, is that because I pay attention to now what marketing companies are doing. And what I've learned is that they all pay attention to the next generation. And so most of us as professionals, as salespeople, we pay attention to people with money. We pay attention to the boomers and to the Gen Xers, right? But the best marketers in the world, I'm telling you can go do your own research on this. They're paying attention to Gen Z. Why? Because the youth of America drive the future. They drive where the future is going. They drive where technology is going. You think about all the things we're talking about today. How did they all start? Where did Facebook start? It was a college app. Every single social media app started with the youth, and then us, quote unquote, boomers took it over, because in little more than a decade, the impact of social media has gone from being an entertaining extra to a fully integrated part of nearly every aspect of daily life. For most of us, literally, we're on social media throughout the day, every single day. We're definitely hitting that 2.5 hours and then some. In case you're wondering, these are what the generational ages are-ish. No offense to boomers, but you're really not becoming relevant anymore. And sad to say it, even Gen X is going to phase out here pretty soon. It's not going to be long, and these two generations are going to completely take over, whether we like it or not. And so it's time to start embracing them. The goal with social, I call it threefold. And again, I'm blazing through this. Omnipresence. You think back to what we did 10 years ago. I keep referencing 10 years ago. But what did you do when you marketed your business? You put a billboard up. You advertised in the local newspaper. You advertised on radio. You advertised on TV. You advertised on a bus stop bench. You advertised on grocery store carts. You go down the list, right? But your reach was limited. Now you've got omnipresence with social media. You're literally getting in front of as many people as humanly possible, because that is possible. And you're meeting them not just in the grocery store they walk into, or the paper that they open, or the highway they drive down. You're meeting them when they're sitting on the toilet, when they're laying in bed, when they're sitting in public transit. You're meeting them where they want to be met, right? You have the opportunity to engage with these people. Every time somebody is liking and commenting on your post, you have the opportunity to engage with them and to create a conversation with them without cold calling them. It is so powerful. Guess what? They reached out to you. not you, them. So even though you're not going to make a sale every single time, probably very rarely, in fact, you are creating top of mind awareness that is far better than any top of mind awareness platform that exists. And you are establishing yourself. You have the ability to establish yourself as an authority. I'm not talking about an authority in real estate. If you look at yourself as a realtor first, you're lumping yourself into about a pool of 2 million other people. Because the reality is all realtors have the same resources. You have the same access to the same data. You have the same ability to put a sign in a yard and to promote a listing. But what differentiates people is what makes them human. And that's where you actually build pockets of raving fans around the things that you do in your life. I've already mentioned parasocial relationships. It's a one-sided relationship where one person extends emotional energy, interest, and time. The other person doesn't know they exist. This is very, very powerful. This guy right here has mastered it. If you don't know who this is Mr. Beast. He's the #1 individual YouTuber on the planet. He's about 24 or 25 years old, and he is insanely rich. And you know what he figured out? He figured out that he is a media company. And you as real estate agents need to look at yourself as a media company first. Your life is your content, and you need to be sharing more of it. That's why people are turning to social media. That's what they're engaging with. And I don't have to show you proof. You can go look at your own feeds to prove it to yourself, because we all know that most of our real estate content gets very little, if any, engagement. So before you do anything, you have to establish your content pillars. And so this is where I'm going to get it a little bit more personal with you all. So one of the things that I will usually do with an audience is I'll get you fired up. I'll get you inspired, and you're going to walk away from today. Many of you are going to create content. You might be creating content as I'm talking. You might create content as soon as we hang up. And for some of you, you might even do it for a couple of days. But often what happens is the next day or a day later, your dog shits on the carpet or your kids act like assholes. Life happens, right? And you quickly vacate social media because you haven't established content pillars. This is what mine looks like. I call it a cheat sheet. It is basically a list of who I am and what I'm doing on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. I created this years ago when I was struggling with what should I post about today, because I was listening to Gary Vee tell me I should be posting 7 times a day. And I was like, 7 times? I can't even post once. Shit, this is hard. And so that led me then to establish my pillars of content. And you all have multiple pillars. You all have a business. Some of you have multiple businesses. You all have a family. You all have hobbies. You all do stuff with your life. What is it you're passionate about? And just start turning the camera on your life more often. That's the point. So that would be another piece of homework that I would give for those of you that don't have this. For those of you that struggle to create on a consistent basis, you need to create your own cheat sheet. You need to tape it to your computer at work. You need to tape it to your computer at home. You need to put it bedside. You need to put it on your bathroom mirror. You need to put it places to remind yourself, did I post today? Am I sharing today?
And wouldn't your dog taking a crap on the carpet actually potentially be a social media post?
100%. It would be content.
Yeah.
Yes. All day long. Yep. Yeah. So I will say this, and you know, you hear a lot of social media coaches say, find your niche, and they're right to a degree. But here's where they're 100% wrong. They're going to tell you to find your niche. And that's where they're wrong. You don't define your niche. Your audience does. That's one of the things that I've learned through my journey with this, is that I post about what I think I want to be or who I want to be, and I don't get a lot of engagement. And I'll show you some examples, I will start to see the results of certain type of content go viral. And that's my audience saying, Jeff, I want more of that. And so that has now led me to, for one example, I've built out my entire TikTok channel is built around a geographical area, the Lake of the Ozarks. And I've now created a YouTube channel, and we're going to be creating a Facebook group. And all it is going to be creating content for TikTok and then repurposing it to these other platforms. But it's a geographical strategy that every single one of you could easily apply. But here's the important thing. You don't find your niche. This is why I go back to those content pillars. This is why I say, as a social media coach and influencer, throw shit up against the wall to see what sticks. So you might spend a year, 2, 3, even 4 years throwing shit up against the wall. And then all of a sudden, one day it's going to smack you in the face. It's happened to me now on a variety of topics. And that's the point. So when your coach is telling you find your niche and that niche isn't working, that could be the reason why, because you didn't let your audience dictate what your niche is going to be. You tried to determine it for your audience. That's not the way it works. And so that's where you need to figure that out. The second one is, of course, marriage content. This is by accident. Again, I share content, my wife and I, there's a lot of that kind of stuff. It's primarily on Instagram, and it's really just behind the scenes. It's me messing with her. It's her messing with me. It's just lifestyle stuff. And my audience has spoken. Those videos consistently are getting thousands of views, tons of engagement. So we decided to create a YouTube channel for that as well. So we're working on that now. And I'm going to breeze through it. This is just an example to drive home the point. If you're looking at the data, you can clearly see which posts are performing consistently well. And that's
Jeff, quick question in the chat. Ali says, Ali, how do you combat the over obsessiveness? I struggle with that because I don't want to care, but you have to care when you start posting.
I'm going to need you to elaborate on that question. When you say over obsessiveness, like obsessing over how you look, how you sound, obsessing over what?
I think the way I read it, and maybe Ali, you can clarify, is the over obsessiveness of it being a perfect piece of content.
Oh gosh,
like the idea that it needs to be highly produced or
Great
just
question.
A perfect piece of content. I have my thoughts around that. No, she says, I don't care how I look. I hardly wear makeup. It's just having to constantly post and constantly be on your phone checking stats.
Yeah. Great question. So first of all, the first part of that, which is the perfection piece of it, which we do obsess over, and it absolutely paralyzes us when it comes to posting on social. The reality is this: it doesn't matter how well produced your video is or your post is. Your audience, maybe 10% of your audience is going to see it. You might get lucky and something might go viral. And I'm not kidding. You're going to get lucky. It's not for skill, because most of the stuff that goes viral for me is the stuff I spent the least amount of time on. That was that reminder to me that consistency trumps perfection as it relates to social. Yes, you need to evolve your game and you need to get better. And I talk about that when I teach video, because I used to say my shitty video will outperform your non-existent one, but I'm starting to change that narrative to say, you now have to create better video, because TikTok has changed the way that the audience is in the world expects to consume content. And so as it relates to that, Ali, I think consistency is most important. It's just sharing your life, living in your stories, sharing your most profound stuff to your feed. There is a level, though, that going back to the second part of that is that I don't want to live on my phone. Okay. Or I don't want to live in my data. But if I told you, and I was your broker, and you got into the business, no matter what it is you're selling, I know, Ali, you're an escrow. But if I told you that you need to spend the majority of your day prospecting, you're not going to question that. You're going to be like, yeah, you're right. I need to spend the majority of my day prospecting. So you need to change the lens by which you look at social, because social is prospecting, and social arguably is more effective prospecting, because again, you're meeting your consumer where they want to be met. Even comparing social to networking events or BNI. I don't know if BNI is common in your guys' markets, but going to those type of events, they're usually pretty awkward. You walk into a room. This is obviously pre-COVID and post-COVID, and you shake hands with 5 or 6 people. You ask them how their life is going, and it's meaningless and it goes nowhere. And you leave, and you just wasted probably 2 hours of your life, maybe more, including drive time. And when you could have been spending that 2 hours, Ali, going on social and connecting with more people and hitting them with the feels and hitting them with dopamine, than going and doing this garbage that we've been trained for the last 30 years to do, because the world struggles to evolve. And so when you look at it like, damn, I don't want to be on my phone all the time, I think you have to look at it differently and say, this is not social media to me. This is business media to me. I'm going to use it socially to attract to my business. And I think that's the mistake that a lot of people make, Sam, is that they look at it and say, okay, Jeff, I'm going to go on social for business. Therefore, I'm going to post about my business. And you're not playing the game correctly if you do that, because you're probably not going to penetrate. And don't get me wrong, I will say this, Sam, there are some anomalies. There's always a unicorn in every crowd. There's always somebody who has succeeded at a high level on social with business content, but they are anomalies. And that's the problem. Going back to my first story, you all look at that person and you say, if they can do it, I can do it. And I'm going to tell you right now, no, you can't. They got lucky. They were first to market. You're too late. You're not going to duplicate what they did. And in some cases, and Sam, you know this all too well, a lot of the people that you see with big audiences were successful people before social was social. And guess what they did? They bought their audiences. They paid for their audiences. They have media teams to hack the algorithms. You don't have that for most of us. And so understanding that and just understanding this is a powerful tool for your business is.
A couple more questions here. That was great, Jeff. Gilbert said, how do we get people to engage and comment and share? Do hashtags and tagging still work?
Absolutely. Yeah. Hashtag is cataloging. And hashtagging is what basically the search bars are using on the platforms. So hashtagging appropriately, not like For You page kind of hashtagging or hashtagging what's trending just because it's trending. Hashtag relevance, hashtag geographical locations, hashtag your real estate team, hashtag what matters. You know, again, if you're sharing more of your life, hashtag the things that you're doing. If you're playing pickleball and you hashtag various pickleball hashtags, the odds of people that are interested in pickleball seeing your post increase. And then when they're seeing those posts, because now all of a sudden they're engaging with that post, guess what happens? Now, when you're posting your real estate content, the odds of that showing up on their feed now increases. It's all just a matter of kind of using the system how it's supposed to be used.
And I would add to that, tell me what you think. There's questions just piling in right now. I would just add to that don't look at the ego metrics of likes and comments as shares as your definition of if your campaigns are working. People, I can't tell you how many times I've posted something that had very little comments or very little likes, but out in the world, we're like, oh, that was a great piece of content, or man, you know, I loved watching that, or et cetera, et cetera. The goal is just everywhere they go, there you are. And in turn, when they see you everywhere, and then they do think about real estate, you're already top of mind. So don't get caught up in the likes, the comments, and the shares. Obviously, those help, but consistency, I believe, trumps that. The next question is, so I believe I have a good grasp on my social pillars. However, my hesitation and holdback is not taking my page to be a public spot. Thoughts on this? Average daily views are 250 to 280. So it feels like an effective audience for a private platform. I just fear turning the IG page public because so much posts are about my children.
Yeah, I mean, that's, you know, I'm not going to tell you what you should or shouldn't do because everybody's going to have their own personal reasons why they don't. I will tell you, though, that it's because of my wife and it's because of my children that make me more relatable to more people, and it connects me to more people. And now, am I mindful about what I post? Absolutely. But at the end of the day, social media is so massively diluted. We are getting into our own heads to think that, you know, yeah, sure, there's going to be some creeps out there. I mean, my wife says it all the time. But at the end of the day, again, I'm using it effectively. And so if you're a very private person, I'm not going to change that. I'm not going to attempt to try to change that. I'm just going to tell you that you're leaving a bullet out of your gun because your children are what make you relatable. Being a parent is what makes you relatable. That's the kind of stuff that actually will drive more engagement. So it might work for you in a private setting, and that's okay because you want to keep it that way. I'm not going to tell you you're wrong for that. I'm just going to tell you that there is, just like, honestly, if somebody came to me and said, you know what, I really love cold calling and I love door knocking, I'm not going to tell you that's not going to work. I'm just going to be telling you that you're going to have a steeper hill to climb than those who choose to go a different route with social because of where the world is going. So I hope that answers that question.
All right, let's keep going and then we'll get back to some of these questions.
Okay. Real quickly, I mean, I say dominate 2 platforms, and here's why, because I don't want to overwhelm you. I want to keep this very simple. So for those of you that are already pretty advanced, you don't necessarily need to apply this, but it's very simple. You want to dominate Instagram and Facebook. Why? Because they talk to each other. It makes your job easier. I highly recommend that you make Instagram your cornerstone platform. Here's the reality. TikTok is the most advanced, but TikTok, people have the reasons why they hate it. TikTok might get banned. If you follow me on Instagram, I talk all about that a lot lately. And you can follow along on that. But Instagram is the closest thing to TikTok. So making Instagram the cornerstone of your social media strategy forces you to become a better creator because it has more tools, it has more effects, it has more things that you can use to make your content better. Facebook is the retirement home of social media platforms. It's still very relevant, but it's where the old people hang out. And by old, I'm talking about myself. And so I think that if you really want to take social serious, you need to take your content creation serious, and you need to be where you have the tools to create. Instagram is that. Plus, you can very easily, every time you post to Instagram, automatically post to Facebook. You can do this vice versa. Your bio is very important. So I'm going to just, again, quickly go through this. Make sure your bio is aesthetically pleasing. First of all, make sure it describes who you are. If your bio is blank, you are, again, leaving opportunity on the table. What happens when you post something on Instagram and somebody likes it? What do? We go stalk their profile. We then maybe decide if we want to follow them, or we go stalk their content. So your profile, you need to look at it as SEO. So what describes you? What's going to get your audience to say, I want to follow that person? I wouldn't make it all about real estate. I would make it somewhat personal. For me, obviously, I've very much niched down because I've spent 6-7 years doing this. I've niched myself down, but it needs to look like this. And frankly, I would use emojis. Why? Because we as humans don't like all text. We need to see pictures. And frankly, it's Instagram. It's built on pictures. So use emojis. I don't care if you're a dude and you're thinking to yourself, oh, that's stupid. Well, I'm telling you right now, if you only have text, it's not going to be as aesthetically pleasing. And if you want to play the game right, use emojis. Also, make sure that you have a website here. I'm actually switching over to a new platform called Instacart. I currently have Beacons. Instacart's way sexier. You're going to see a lot of content about that here shortly. But have one of these websites: Linktree, Beacons, Instacart. And I don't recommend having your real estate website. And here's why. Because when they see a real estate website, guess what it screams to them? This person is going to want to sell me something. They're going to try to pull me into their web, and they're going to start sending me a bunch of communication that I didn't ask for. So you want to try to be as subtle as you pull them into your web as possible. Use a Beacons, use an Instacart, and then put your real estate website on that web page. But this is important. Lastly, you want to make sure you have the right account. Instagram, you can have 3 types of accounts: personal, business, or creator/professional. You want to have the last one. You want to have a creator or professional account because it gives you more tools. If you want to know how to do this, it's very simple. I'm going to jam through this. On the top, if you go to your profile, the top right corner of your profile, you've got the 3 little sandwiches there, 3 little lines. You click on that, it pops up this screen. You're going to click on settings, and I'm going to jam through this. This is being recorded. You can watch this again. Once you click settings, it's going to pull up this page. Then you're going to click on account. Once you click on account, it's going to pop up this page. There's actually 2 things you're going to do here. One is you're going to click on sharing to other apps. You need to make sure that you're connected to your personal Facebook page, not your business Facebook page. Your business Facebook page is a graveyard. Your personal Facebook page. Then at the bottom, you're going to click on a switch account type. If you pull it up and it says switch to personal or business, that means you already have a creator account. If it gives you the option to have a creator or professional account, do it today, because it's the best type of account you can have. It gives you the best mesh of analytics from a business account and music from a personal account. Because if you've experienced this, the only reason to have a business account, the only reason, is if you're scheduling content through a scheduler. Then you have to have a business account. I don't recommend schedulers, but if you have to do that, it's better than nothing. And so I won't talk you out of it. All right, moving on. TikTok, same thing, same general setup, basically. Basically, your bio is going to look the same. Use emojis, make sure it describes who you are, make sure you have a website, make sure you link to Instagram because you can't DM on TikTok. So make sure you have all of that set up. My current strategies revolve around Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. That's where I post to every single day. I'm going to really fly through this because I know we're running against the clock here, but I want to show you guys what I'm doing. I spend Every day I post a reel, sometimes 2 reels, many days it's 2 reels. That's not what I'm suggesting that you all do, but I'm spending my time creating content where the platforms are rewarding me. They're rewarding me in reels. I'm posting 1 to 2 a day. This is an average 30-day period for me where I'm getting hundreds of thousands of views. I'm getting thousands of likes, but that's not what's important. That's vanity. What matters is that I got 300 comments over that 30-day period. 300 people raised their hand for me to comment back. 494 people said, I'm going to advertise you for you. That's powerful. And 181 people said, I like your content so much, I want to watch it again later. That's what you're after. You're not after vanity. Vanity doesn't matter. Vanity's for our ego. Vanity might gain us more followers, which is important, but it's what matters is engagement. That's what matters. So go after that. Live in your stories every single day. Every single day, just document what's going on in your life. I'm posting on average 5 to 7 times a day in my stories. Now I'm going to tell you real quick, here's my suggestion for everyone, depending on where you are. You decide where you are, but let's just assume you are a novice and you're not posting very consistently. Here's my advice to you. Get to the point where you're posting 1 reel a week and 1 story every single day. Those are the cadence that you need to build up. That's what I would get to, because you want to build to the cadence to where you're posting a reel probably 4 to 6 a week, if not every single day. And you want to get to the point where you're posting multiple stories a day. Why do you want to be posting multiple stories a day? Because that little bubble at the top of the platforms, when you open it up, are only active when you have an active story. Your story goes away after 24 hours. So the more stories you post, the greater the likelihood that your bubble is going to show up on your audience's feeds when they open up their platform. Even if they're not looking at stories, it's a billboard, it's a drive-by. So if Sam opens up Instagram and lives in his feed, but not in his stories, but Jeff Pfitzer's name pops up at the top of his screen most days, I just drove by Sam. And that's my billboard. It's the same effectiveness. And that's the reason why you want to live in your stories every single day. Also, I spend all of my time in my notifications. More specifically, you need to have a creator account for this, but some of you have seen the new feature called Notes, where you can go into your DMs and you can type a little message right here. I've been in Notes for about 30 days now. I have had more engagement on my Instagram in probably the last 2 or 3 years as a result of Notes, just because I'm dropping little lines here that causes people to respond. And then that causes a little conversation in DMs. It's powerful. Here's how I spend all of my time on social. I spend my time, number 1, creation. Number 2, in my notifications. And then number 3, if I have time, I scroll social media for entertainment. That's a really—
How do you do the notes section, just so people understand?
If you go into your DMs on Instagram, if you see this little section, first of all, if you're not a creator or professional account, you don't even have this option. So you're going to have to wait for that. So if you have a creator or professional account, you'll eventually get the option to have notes. It'll be right here in your DMs. It'll be right here. You've probably seen them and wondering what the hell they are. If you click on your little plus button, it opens up a screen that says you can type in a message that only lasts for 24 hours. It's just like stories. And so you can ask a question, you can make a statement, you can do whatever you want. I've been playing around with it. I'm trying to figure out what gets the most engagement. So I'm definitely not selling. But what happens is when somebody sees that and they respond to it, like this one was, what should I make my next video? I think I probably had 5 to 10 people respond to it. And then it shows up in my DMs, and now I'm having a conversation with them. But the important piece here, Sam, is if you really want to take social serious, you got to stop going down the rabbit hole, which is actually my next slide, the rabbit hole of social media. You have to be very intentional with social. You all know when you open up Instagram and the first reel is if you have a French bulldog like me, a Frenchie video pops up, and then freaking 30 minutes later, I just watched 50 freaking Frenchie videos. And I'm like, damn it, I just lost 30 minutes, right? You have to be very intentional about your time. So when I go to social, I want to create first. I'm making sure I'm posting. I'm making sure I'm going through these notifications right here. I'm making sure that I'm responding to every single person that showed me love. And then I'm making sure that I'm staying active in my notes so that I can create more conversations. It's very important. TikTok, as you all know, it's the rabbit hole of all rabbit holes. Don't let it be. But real quickly, I just want to share something with you. I practiced what I preached on TikTok for years, and I had this content strategy, and these were my strategies. And this past summer, it was August, I said, you know what the hell am I doing? The reason I have a big audience on TikTok is because of the Ozarks. I should go all in on Ozarks. So I just started posting all Ozarks. Since doing that, so just in the last, since August, so however much time that is, here's a random 60-day period on TikTok. TikTok's way more powerful than Instagram. I don't need to repeat these. You can just look at that. Had 300 comments on Instagram. I had 4,700 on TikTok. I had how many shares on Instagram? I had 21,000 on TikTok. I gained this many new followers, potential customers, right? I had 50,000 people that were stalking my profile. It's freaking powerful. What it has done, it has established me as the authority on a geographic area. Not long after doing that, this is September 15th, this particular gentleman went and found me on Facebook. He messages me, mind you, I'm not a real estate agent, and I don't even post that much about real estate on TikTok. Every once in a while, I'll do a home walkthrough just because the homes, like the Ozarks, are pretty awesome. And so he messaged me and says, where's the best place to buy at the lake? I respond with a few questions. He responds with this long response. I respond with, hey, man, you want me to connect you to a realtor? He doesn't even think twice. And he just dropped me his phone number. There's a lead, a freaking hot ass lead. And guess what happened? It ended up being 2 leads. It was him and a buddy. They're both buying at the lake. I now have connected with some realtors and they've got 2 leads out of it. And you know what happened was he even said here, oh, also, Jeff, I want to hear from you. And you know how I read that? Because you're the authority, because you're the expert. Even more recently, this popped up in my Instagram DMs. This gentleman, Travis Renner, I don't know, this guy from Adam. He says, hey, man, I need some help with my Airbnb, my VRBO at the lake. I'm having some problems with management companies. And of course, guess what happened? I connected him to my realtor. I told my realtor, I'm like, listen, you got a freaking homeowner here, somebody who invests in real estate. This is the lead. You better jump all over this shit. And so now guess who's controlling the narrative with their realtors? That's why I make it rain on the mortgage business. Sam, if I have time real quick, just to jump over to Facebook.
Yeah, bro, keep going. And people are loving it. There's more questions. And we're definitely going to bring you back for more. So
right on. I'll breeze through this real fast, but the only reason I'm going to share this is because I joked that Facebook is the retirement home of social media platforms, but still today, this year, it remains the leading option for building an online community. It's still the one piece of Facebook that they spend millions of dollars advertising. If you watch ESPN, you see their commercials. And this is really freaking powerful. I'm not going to read all of these, but I'm going to share 2 of them. And this, I updated this slide this year. So this is new. This is crazy. 73% of social media users say that the most important group in their life is online. Say that again to yourself. The most important group in their life is online. And I'm going to tell you, just like you're probably thinking right now, the first thing you thought to yourself was, wow, that's fucked up. And then I thought to myself, holy shit, there's so much opportunity online and I'm missing the freaking boat. I just need to create more Facebook groups. Going back to what you said, Ali, I thought to myself, I need to be spending more time on social media because this is only going to get worse or better, depending on which way you look at it. But that's the reality of where the world is going. And then 98% of members of groups, they say they feel a sense of belonging. So imagine being the narrator of said group. They're going to look at you as their cult leader. And guess what they're going to do? Whatever it is you're selling, they're buying. I guarantee it. Facebook groups are powerful. I break it down into 4 different types of groups. I really would focus on 1, 2, or 3. Geo-target is very simple. I know in San Diego, I don't know how many guys are from San Diego. You guys all know who Kyle Whistle is. He made himself famous as a result of doing this exact strategy. And it's very duplicatable. There's nothing special about Kyle, no offense. There's nothing special about me. We just do it consistently. I also think that a Facebook group should be a CRM. I think you should put all of your past customers into a Facebook group because now you're meeting them where they want to be met. And Sam, I could do an entire strategy just on that because I think traditional CRMs are garbage. I think they're necessary because we need automation because we're lazy. But by and large, most of our customers are opting out of all of the messaging that we're sending them because they didn't ask for it. If you put them in a Facebook group and you give them relevant content, they're going to engage. They're going to remember you. You're going to stay top of mind. And then you could do interest, hobbies, and then last would be business or education. This is my current strategy, and I only share it for one reason, one simple reason. Because you are just making excuses. Because if I can make the time with all the businesses that I'm a part of, and you're not posting every single day, you're just making excuses. The last thing I want to share, Sam, and I'll wrap up, 2 strategies that are not posting related. And I really did, trust me, guys, I jammed through that. I've got a lot more to share, but I love these 2 strategies. This one is a posting strategy. 5-5-5, 5 minutes before you post, target 5 people in your audience who you want to see the post, and go find their post and comment 5 words or more, their most recent post. And by the way, I wouldn't stop at 5. I'd probably go to 10 or 15. Go target people that you want to see your post before you post. Think about that. Now you are going to engage with their content. Guess what's going to happen? They're going to respond back. And even if they don't, the algorithm's paying attention. The algorithm says there must be a commonality. So if I do this, before I post today, I go poke Sam on Instagram, Sam, the odds of my next reel showing up on your feed increase dramatically.
Yeah, and I totally agree.
And by the way, and I know this if I text Sam, I usually don't get a response. If I comment on one of his posts, I almost always get a response. Why? Because he hates his phone. And guess what? Social is dopamine. I'm hitting them with the feels. And if you don't think your consumer, your customers don't have the same thing, you're completely wrong. So do this. Lastly is the simple LCM strategy. This is a Tristan one, but this is not like he invented this. You don't ever have to post on social media. You could spend 20, 30, 40, 2 hours a day going to social media, stalking your audience, the people that have sent you business, the people that have referred you business, the people that have transacted with you. All you got to do is consistently track their content, show them love, because you all know, as Sam even mentioned, most of our posts get no love. So when we do get love, you're damn right we notice, because here's the deal. Every time you all post a video, guess what you do? You obsess over it. I'm the same way. I'm always checking my stats. Allie, I literally live on my phone because I'm posting all the time. So I'm always looking to see, how did that video do? How did that video do? Did I get some notifications? Did I get some comments? And you better believe I'm noticing who's showing me love. And you better believe your consumers are going to notice when you're showing them love, when they're only posting once every 2 weeks. This isn't going to take you a lot of time, because most of your consumers are not active on social like you are. And so just use this strategy to stay top of mind, and you can throw away every CRM you've ever used, because this is more powerful.
Love it. Let's take a couple questions. Hopefully these people are still in here. We've only had a few people drop off. First question is, so you don't recommend having Instagram posts going to business Facebook, but go to business personal?
If you follow what I say to do, you're not going to be posting nearly as much business anyway. And if you are posting a lot of business, or the majority of your strategy is business, that feed is going to be a graveyard too. So no, I absolutely do not. So no matter what you're practicing, we all know that Facebook business pages were designed to make money for Facebook. So unless you're running ads, I'm not saying don't spend time on a Facebook business page, but it has 2 purposes. It's a yellow pages for those that use it that way to stalk you, and it's for running ads. That's it. That's the only reason you have a business page anymore.
It's almost impossible to get organic engagement on a business page, where your personal page is just going to always outperform. Next question. I feel like you already covered it, but I think that there's probably people still not connecting the dots. So I'm glad you asked this, Carol. Jeff, if you're not selling anything, what does this bring? You never talk about mortgages. So what are you going for? Like, what's your agenda, and how as an agent does this work for me?
It's really crazy, Carol. It's a phenomenal question, and I get this a lot. So yes, I will sprinkle in. Actually, I don't really sprinkle in mortgage much anymore, but I did when I was more active in the business. Now I'm selling social, I'm selling coaching, I'm selling, I'm creating opportunities and relationships with real estate agents so I can connect them to my LOs. So you got to figure out what your target audience is. And so, Carol, I'm just going to assume that you're a real estate agent and your primary focus is not recruiting agents. It is recruiting buyers and sellers. And so if that is truly the case, what you have to stop and think about is those buyers and sellers that you want to connect with on social. Why are they on social? Let's go back to the psychology piece. Why did they roll over in bed or sitting on the toilet or sitting in public transit, open up Facebook or Instagram? It's not because they're curious to see your latest transactional photo. It's not because they want to see your latest listing. They just transacted with you. They don't care, right? It's not because they want to learn about a Monday market update. Nobody cares about that. Not even people in the industry. It's boring. They went there for puppy dogs. They went there for toddlers. They went there to see hobbies. They went there for entertainment. They went there for education. They went there for all the reasons why we're not there. And so in order for you to actually build a relationship with them, you have to connect with them how they want to be connected with. Then once you connect with them, they're going to start to see that business content. They're already going to have the feels for you because you guys share and you have a passion for growing tomatoes. And now all of a sudden they're going to want to transact with you because of that reason.
I think a good analogy here, Jeff, is earlier you talked about Mr. Beast. None of his content has anything to do with hamburgers, but because he owns a piece of your mind and now he has Beast Burgers, you're more likely to order that to get delivered to your house because, holy crap, it's Mr. Beast. I'm going to try his burger. Another way of looking at it is, let's say, you just love watching Real Housewives of Atlanta. If that person owns a piece of your brain and happens to be an agent, the likelihood of you wanting to work with them is a lot greater than the other average agent. That's why earlier we started by saying the moment you become a somebody, that's when the business starts to come to you. We just want to create the personality that engages people and helps us own a piece of their brain so that when they are ready to talk, transact, refer real estate, you're top of mind. Next question. What do you typically say in your notes?
It varies. I will do something as simple as black or cream. Those typically actually get more engagement. And obviously I'm referring to coffee. It depends. It depends on who you are. So for me, I'm a big March Madness fan. I've had some notes that were about March Madness. My current note is because I was talking. So a lot of times what I'll do I don't know who asked that question, but what I will do is I will make my question related to my most recent post. So yesterday I was talking about TikTok's ban, and I was talking about how actually the funny thing is all the negative narrative about TikTok has all been created by Facebook. A lot of people may not have realized that. Like the propaganda is ridiculous if you actually dig into this. And so in my note was, in your opinion, which social platform is the evil empire? And so it's for if I'm a real estate agent, especially locally, and depending on who your audience is, especially we're talking about Instagram here. If your audience on Instagram is primarily friends, family, and past customers and geographic related, I would probably make most of my notes something that would cause them to respond. It definitely wouldn't be who's looking to buy or sell. It would be, are you going to the local game this weekend? Have you seen the latest news story on this? It would be something that would try to create engagement because that's the name of the game, but also
and the goal or the results of that, Jeff, just so everyone understands, is when they engage, then the likelihood of your next post showing up in their feed greatly increases. It's not about the note, it's about the engagement. So if I say, who's the GOAT, LeBron or Michael Jordan? That's a very passionate conversation.
It's a good one.
Right? Very passionate, nothing to do with real estate, but I'm going to get half the people are going to say Jordan, half of them are going to say LeBron, the other half are going to say neither one. I don't care what they say, but the fact that they engaged, now I'm going to show up in their feed. Last couple questions. Basically what you're saying, Jeff, is talk more about you, your personality, what you do, family, places you like to go, or recommend, etc. Correct?
Yeah, and part of the reason for that, Rebecca, is because it's also easier. I think the hardest part that most of us have with social is what do we talk about? And so when you build it around the pillars of content, which is what you're doing every day, I'm a golfer, so I just turn my camera on more often. I go to the Lake of the Ozarks, I turn my camera on more often. I have bird feeders outside, I turn my camera on. It sounds goofy, but the reality is I'm building pockets of fans that follow me because they have the same passion for birds. I know it's silly, but it's true. Like the same people comment on those posts. The same people follow me for my golf content. The same people follow me for the fitness content, right? So you just figure out what it is and who you are as a human being. And I will give one story, Sam, here real quick. I have had many people raise their hand on this, but one person specific in Atlanta raised their hand once, and she goes, Jeff, you have a really exciting lifestyle. Like you travel, you do this stuff. It's really fun. Your family's funny. And I'm like, first of all, I'm not a whole lot different than most of you, but she's like, so here's my story. I'm a full-time nurse, part-time realtor, single mom. What the hell am I going to post about? I don't have time throughout the day to do anything. And I said, that in and of itself is more relatable than anything I can ever post. I said, if you just start documenting your life, sharing the struggles, the wins, the losses with your kids, with being a single parent, with juggling 2 careers, with that sort of stuff, I said, you are going to create such relatable content that a lot of people are looking for, because a lot of people remember that stat, Sam, that I shared about Facebook is it's the 73%. It's they're the group that they feel the most belonging to is online. It's because it's relatable, because gone are the days we're drifting away from Kardashian style content, which is not reality, to reality. Like, people go to social now because they want to feel like, oh, damn, I'm actually normal. I'm actually not fucked up. Right? Excuse my language, but that's the thing. Like, they're looking at social now to say, I need to see other people that have the same struggles as me. That's what they're drawn into. And that's who they build a really, really strong parasocial relationship with.
100%. People like to work with people that they feel are like them.
Yeah.
So think about how many single moms that are juggling 2 careers are going to feel a connection to you, and in return want to support you when real estate does pop into their conversation. Last question. I already know what you're going to say, but Anna said, stories versus posts, what's best?
Both.
There you go.
Yeah. I mean, your posts, your feed should be more profound. You're maybe 1 a day, 2 a day. That's what I'm doing. For most of you, it's just a handful a week. Your stories is every day. Your stories, you vomit your life. You post what you're eating for breakfast. It doesn't matter. It's going to be gone in 24 hours. People are more interested in the cereal you're eating for breakfast than the fact that you just closed a transaction. I can guarantee you.
Yeah. And I would add that on post, reels right now are outperforming regular videos or static posts. And when you create the influencer account or content creator, and your reels start to pick up stream, they actually start paying you for the views that you get. I mean, I'm getting paid from Instagram every month for posting reels.
Yep.
So get on top of that. Another question just popped up. If you have a minute, and we'll make this the last one. I was thinking stories that show why having a good agent matters would be a good theme.
Yeah, sure. It is, as long as it's only a fraction of your content. It is good, but it just don't. I mean, again, some people might have success with this, but most of you won't. So if you inundate your audience with your business, it's self-serving. And that's where you have to look at this. Are you self-serving or are you serving others? Gary Vee says this, and that's the key. And so that's what you have to figure out. So how can I serve others through my content? And some of it's going to be just sharing your life, because that's what they're interested in. They're interested in mindless content. Some of it's going to be becoming the aggregator of what's going on in the community. Others might be something educational. I mean, literally, I've advised somebody that I coach. She grows tomatoes every year. I didn't realize it's a year-long process. And I'm like, there's your content. Just share that. You're going to get so many people that are interested in that you're going to beat anything that I can do. And it sounds really stupid, but I bet you it works. And sure as shit, it's working for her.
Yeah, I'd say 80-90% is just real life stuff.
Yep.
10-20% is business related.
Yep.
Last thing, Billy said, Jeff, thank you for the kick in the pants today. Hopefully, Sam and Collective Coaching, Oliver will invite you back soon. We absolutely will. Jeff, how do they connect with you again?
Just find me on social, man. My name is on the screen here. So just find me on social, DM me. I respond to all of them. So yeah, just connect with me on social is the easiest way. And if we really connect, some of you even have my cell phone number. So yeah, I'm happy to connect by cell too, but social is the easiest way. Yeah.
And we'll get you out here for one of our next big events. I'm sure the other offices around the country, you're already working with some of them, would love to have you out. We'll definitely bring you back. Jeff, that was phenomenal. Thank you for your time. Love you, mean it, and can't wait to talk to you soon.
Thanks, guys. See ya.
Take care, everybody.